Are we live? It says live. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on Saturday, January 28th at 2 p.m. For Ask Jun the Groomer Live. I know this is kind of not the usual time. I missed it because just really busy, right, Ava? Oh my goodness. You want to say hi to everybody? Say my name is Ava. My name is Ava. You don't have to. Oh, actually, you don't have to say it. Whatever. Okay. So before we get sidetracked here, how come it isn't starting on this window here? I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if this is actually working or not, but if it is, just in case it is, let's go ahead and go into it. So last week on Thursday, I didn't have get a chance to get to everybody's comments. So I copied and pasted it, and I wanted to start off with that today, so that we get to everybody's comments. I just want to make sure that this is actually working. Like it doesn't. Is it working? Okay, perfect. I was kind of going through the comments earlier, and I just wanted to go through like the ones that are important. I am in Georgia. I'm in Suwannee, and right now what I'm doing is I'm driving to my clients' homes, and I'm doing private in-house like house call grooming. So I set up in people's homes, I groom their dogs, and I do about 2 to 3 appointments a day. And most of my clients are in like the Buckhead, Chastain Park, Brookhaven, that area. But I drive out to Alpharetta, Roswell. So, you know, I just kind of go all over Georgia. Now, and then let me see here. Let's get down to a few. So there's this one that says, we have a standard poodle with an elbow that has some residual red yeast. It doesn't bother him and he doesn't pick at it. Do you recommend the remedy? And this was by AK. No, SBMAL. Lake was for IPAs are amazing because I don't know why, but I started talking about IPAs last week. IPA beer, Indian Pale Ale. Anyways, I have a suggestion for yeast on the elbows. I would suggest maybe using a little bit of ear cleaner, like all natural ear cleaner on those areas. Especially if it is yeast, it'll kill the yeast because usually it's like yeast and bacteria growing inside the ears, and so the ear cleaner is designed to kill that in the ears. So a bit of the ear cleaner, maybe on a cotton ball or something on the elbows where the yeast is, it would probably help. Even if it isn't yeast and we misdiagnosed it, an all natural ear cleaner probably isn't going to do much damage either if you put a little bit on a cotton ball and put it on the elbow where it looks yeasty. You might want to do that would really help is put a light layer of oil on it as well. Coconut oil is getting a lot of I guess publicity, a lot of attention these days. And if you do use coconut oil, just use a very light layer of it. But the same goes with argan oil, avocado oil, emu oil, any of those light oils that I usually recommend. Even when you're using those oils, lavender I hear helps as well. So just use a very light layer. With oils, less is more. Let's see here. I don't want to go through all these comments that say like, oh, you know, Jun, God bless you, you know, things like that, because I love it, but I'm sure that's not what people come on the Q&A to hear. So let's see here. My snout. Okay, this is from Lori Seaback Antes. So Lori Seaback Antes. My schnauzer has a. Maybe I should just. Maybe I just screen share this because there is a few. Okay, so I'll screen share this. Oh, Giselle and Blue. Hello, Jun. What happened yesterday? Okay, so yesterday. Oh no, yes. You mean Thursday, right? So Thursday, busy. Oh, let me stop sharing this so I can get to Giselle and Blue's question here because it is live. Okay. So on Thursday, I don't even really remember. I just know that I've been really, really busy these days. And so just really tired because, you know, my grooms, it requires a lot of work. You know, I do my prep. So I clear the skin first. I do a lot of brushing and carding before the bath. In the bath, I do the shampoo and conditioner, and then I dry, you know, hand dry. And that takes about an hour. And then, you know, I do the hair, finish the haircut. And I'm not, you know, please don't take this as complaining. I'm just saying, you know, it takes, it's effort. It's a lot of physical work. And so by the end of the day, you know, I'm pretty tired. So I remember on Thursday evening, I remember on the way home, you know, kind of feeling excited, like, you know, but then traffic. Oh my goodness, traffic in Atlanta. I love everything about Atlanta except the traffic. Well, actually, one good thing about the traffic is I listen to audiobooks in the car. So I do feel like I'm learning during the traffic time. But on Thursday evening, on my way home, I was just like dozing on the wheel. And I remember at the stoplight, we were at a stoplight for so long because there was so much traffic. I had my foot on the brake and I just passed out. And I just closed my eyes for a second and I was out. And then I hear cars honking as they're driving around me. Oh my God. So I wake up and I'm like, oh my God. And so together, got home. And I remember we went to the gym. Kimmy and I went to the gym and, you know, got a little workout in. And then I sat down and that's about all I remember. And then I think it was around 10:30-ish, almost 11, Thursday evening. I wake up and then, you know, I see some comments. Julia Underwood actually on Facebook, like, hey, we missed you. I was like, oh my God, you know, I missed it. But I was just, I'm really sorry about that, guys. But honestly, and then Friday night, I wanted to try to do it yesterday evening, but then yesterday as well, really busy day. And then when I got off, you know, the kids wanted to spend some time and things like that. So anyways, that's what happened. But next week, hopefully we can keep the regular Thursday at 9 time because I think that's a pretty good time for everyone. Everyone seems to, I seem to be getting the most viewers and most interaction Thursdays at 9. So we'll probably try to keep it there. Oh, Anastasia Montoya. What do I do if my Shih Tzu won't eat and hasn't eaten for, oh my goodness. Is it true that if a dog eats chocolate, they will die? Yeah, well, no, I mean, it depends on how much chocolate and also if it was dark chocolate. Dark chocolate or like real chocolate, like, you know, the cacao, you know, plant, whatever, that is poison to dogs. That's poisonous. Milk chocolate is still not good, but if they eat enough of it, I hear it's not good. If your Shih Tzu has not eaten for days and it has eaten chocolate before that happened, I'm not a vet, but I would say please go see a vet. That would be my personal recommendation and suggestion to you, Anastasia Montoya. As a friend, I guess, if my friend told me this, hey, my Shih Tzu hasn't eaten for days, and by the way, is it okay if a dog eats chocolate? I'd say, hey, take your dog to the vet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would say turn off the YouTube and take your dog to the vet. Yeah. And here's the thing, if it's something serious like that, most vets are willing to work with you. Let's say if you don't have the money to actually pay for all the treatments and everything, most vets, in my experience, are willing to work with you because they do care about getting your dog healthy. So yes, okay, she says, okay, thanks, we'll do. Perfect. Yes, and so don't worry about the money or anything like that because usually if your dog is in serious condition like that and the vets have to treat it in order to save its life, they are willing to work with you on payments. So I would definitely, and hey, if they're not, get your dog treated and then deal with it afterwards, right? I don't know. Maybe I'll get in trouble for giving that kind of advice. I'm just talking to you as a friend. Joanne, hey, Joanne, how are you? She says, hi, June. Of course, they will give them chocolate. Oh my goodness. Yeah. If your dog ate chocolate and it's not eating now for a few days, I would definitely say take him to the vet. Okay, so back to the screen share so I can get to the questions from last week. And then I also had a few points, 3 points that I wanted to address this week. So should present to everyone. All right. So the first one I wanted to get into was oh where was it? Okay, I have a Shih Tzu too. I groom, comb, brush, clean around her eyes. Every day I started, okay. Oh, you know what? I screenshot the wrong one. Okay. Refuses, growls and squirms while she tries to clip her up. This one on the bottom of the page, Jackie Poodle 1. June, my Yorkie Schnauzer mix refuses, growls and squirms while trying to clip around her vulva. Okay, and around her private area. She's prone. Any tips on how to calm her and work? Okay, she's prone to infection. So I'm willing to guess that it's sanitary area. What, I don't even know why they call it sanitary area when it's actually like the most area of the dog. But anyways, I'm willing around her vulva is brown, right? Brown and kind of crusty hairs, you know. The reason why she's acting that way is because it's already just irritating her skin so much in that area. Me personally, what I would do is if I'm gonna put her through that kind of stress anyways, I would just go ahead and shave it off. Maybe clean it with some ear cleaner, or if you have Zymox or Banix. Banix is BNIXX, and they make an amazing spray that helps with horses, any kind of bacterial infection, fungal infection. I mean, it's amazing stuff. Also, Zymox makes creams, sprays. Zymox is ZYMOX. But any of those, or just an all-natural ear cleaner, and just clean that area and try to, get rid of the bacteria and the yeast and whatever's going on there, right? And then as the hair starts growing in, see, if she wasn't squirming and growling, then and the dog was more tolerant, I probably would try to pluck that out before shaving it. But because you're saying she's growling and squirming, she doesn't like it anyways, probably plucking it out is not going to be a good option, because that's probably, she's going to freak out. Is shave it first, because that's going to be the least irritating, way, the least stimulating way, to get that area cleaned. So once it's cleaned out and all that brown hair shaved off and shaved off that area, then clean the skin with either Zymox, Banix, something that's a good antibacterial, antifungal product, has those properties. If you want to go to Yves Saint Bernard, they actually have an ozonized olive oil that works really good because it's an all natural antifungal. But yeah, there's Derm Magic. Derm Magic also has some ointments. And Derm Magic is DERMAGIC. Derm Magic. But yeah, if you get any of those products, so what you want to do is clear all that dead brown hair out of there, and then clean that area. And then as the hair starts to grow back, then that's when you start doing the brushing and the carding, and maybe even just plucking. Kind of chalk your hands up with some talcum or cornstarch or ear powder, or just regular chalk, but get your hands kind of chalky, powdered up, and then pull those hairs out. And that's gonna stop nastiness going on down there. But yeah, let's see here. Were there any other important questions from last week? Linda Bush. Oh, sorry about that. My laptop just fell off of its stand. Linda Bush. I brush my Bichon every day and her teeth seems to have gotten stained instead of white. Maybe it's food or something else caused it. Maybe. If you're brushing your dog's teeth every day and it still has gotten stained, yeah, maybe it's something that's coming from internally too. I would definitely have your vet and see what your vet, check it out and see what your vet thinks. One of the vets that I met, she made a really good point. She said the importance of blood work with dogs is that dogs are never going to tell you, hey, I've been having a little bit of gas these past few days, and my shoulder kind of, never. Dogs try to hide their pain, and it's just they do that as a survival mechanism. They never try to show weakness. And so when a dog actually does show some signs of hurting or things like that, lethargic, then there's something seriously wrong. And so but with the teeth being stained, even though you're brushing it every day, there could be something going on internally. Some, their blood levels or something is off, and your vet can actually check for that. Wrong and internally everything's going fine, then maybe it's just the way you're brushing. Because I remember when I was a kid, we had these little tablets that we chewed, and it would show all the plaque that we missed that morning when we brushed our teeth. So it could just be that you're not getting it thoroughly done. Let's see here. Feeding yogurt for eye stains worked. Okay, stains last week a little bit. One person saying that feeding yogurt to their dogs, feeding little yogurt for eye stains has worked for her 2 Cavaliers. Perfect. Let's see here. Okay, so everything is just kind of thanks. Lauren, I'm at PetSmart Grooming Academy. I'm worried I'm not getting good training because in the grooming world, they say PetSmart is the supercuts of dog grooming. What do you think? Okay, and I've heard this a lot. And some groomers even told me that PetSmart is where groomers go to start and go to die. So but the thing is, I have a lot of friends who work at PetSmart or who have worked from, gotten trained at PetSmart. One of my friends was a trainer at PetSmart. So yeah, it's what you make of it, really. And also, I think a little bit of luck of the draw in getting a good supervisor or manager or whoever's in charge. There's a little bit of a luck involved in that too. Just really getting somebody that you can really feel inspired to work for or work with. Whoa, we got some comments coming in. Okay, perfect. Joanne Mayer, shout out to Limerick Island. Oh, Limerick Island. Wow, Joanne Mayer is from Ireland, Limerick, Ireland. Wow. And I don't know if you know this about me, Joanne, but I'm a huge MMA fan. I'm into UFC, and first thing I think of when I think of Ireland is Conor McGregor. I'm sorry, that's just, and I love him. I love Conor McGregor. Anyways, fairy tale plans. I have a matted golden doodle coming in 15 minutes. He's not fully matted, but areas here and there, and they're pretty bad. Should I try to loosen them up as much as I can and spot shave them? Okay, fairy tale plans. I'm so busy these days is because most of my clientele are doodles, and I've been noticing, even with the clients who do brush regularly, they're brushing mostly the top coat, but it still helps when the owners brush on a regular basis. And I never expect them to, first of all, I never expect anyone to brush their dogs anyways. I'm kind of over that. But when they do tell me that they brush regularly, at least 2-3 times a week, then I don't really expect them to do as thorough of a job as I would. I just don't, because this is my profession, and I take it seriously. I don't expect everybody to. And also that's why I'm getting paid, right? But I've been noticing that it's been taking extra long. It's been taking me an extra hour or two, to groom these dogs and get them all brushed out. And what I think is going on is that, as we know, the commonly accepted fact is, and that's the thing, is it's commonly accepted as truth. But in my personal experience, I'm thinking maybe it's not so exact. They say June 21st and December 21st are the peak shedding days for dogs, meaning that's when they kind of blow out their undercoat. So their goose down feather, those like downy hairs, the soft, fine, flimsy hairs that are more there for insulation and things like that. And it helps, carry the oils. But the undercoat hairs are being detached from the root, but they're still inside because they're part of a unit. So it's a part of this bundle of hair growing from this follicle, and it's kind of detaching and getting fuzzy and old. So it's becoming old underwear pretty much. And it kind of, we get a bunch of this, and then because it's frayed and fuzzy and dead, it starts to tangle up and mat up. And then as it starts to become these matted hairs and tangle up with each other, the healthy hairs even get caught up in it. And then you get these matted mess. I've been spending a good 2 to 3 hours getting all of that combed out, these dogs, but that's just me. And I don't blame anyone for not spending that time. If you're not, especially if you have a shop to run. The way I've done my business model, enough per visit, where I know that if I do 2 appointments a day, or even just 1, I know that I'm good for that day. And I'm happy with how much I made for the day, no matter how much work was involved. So that's kind of how I set up my business model. So for me, it doesn't matter if I'm working on a dog for 8 hours because they're matted and I'm trying to detangle them, you know, gently, of course, because I do want it to be pleasant for the dogs. The dogs are usually laying down and it's kind of like a massage for them. They're loving it, but I'm sitting there sweating, you know, and getting all this done. But for me, it's worth it. And I kind of laugh to myself sometimes, like, this is my job. This is what I'm doing for the day to get paid. You know, this is how I earn my money. Like, I love it. So for me, I'm just a different, I know. And that's the thing. I used to be more like, oh, why aren't more people like me? And then I realized because I'm crazy. You know, not just that, but I mean, I love this saying, be yourself because everybody else is taken. So I no longer expect anyone to share my beliefs or my opinions. And I also don't expect anybody or appreciate when somebody tries to push their beliefs and opinions on me either. So it's a two-way street. And I think it's respectful, right? It's being respectful and understanding here about who I am and who others are, you know. But anyways, that's just me. I spend the time, but if I didn't have the time, then I probably would, where was it? Who was it? Fairy tale plans. I probably would. I'm kind of with you on that one. It's a matted golden doodle, and there's areas where it's matted pretty bad. I would try to loosen them up a little bit, and you know, maybe even go with the 4-blade, right? Or maybe with like a 30 blade under a 2-comb and see if a 2-comb would go under those mats. But yeah, I mean, usually when I have a dog like that and I'm working at a salon and I know I don't have 4 or 5 hours to spend on this dog, I got like 2 or 3, then yeah, I will see, like, within this amount of time, how pretty can I make this dog? You know, like I kind of treat it, I tell myself I'm on an episode of Chopped. Like on Food Network, you know, and that, I know that's probably a bad analogy for an Asian guy to talk about dogs and food and cooking. But anyways, I love cooking. I love watching cooking shows. So when I watch these shows, I'm like, wow, the way they're sweating and frantic and trying to get it done in a certain amount of time. I'm like, that's how I feel when I'm grooming these dogs, you know, at the salon. So yeah, I would say, you know, use your best judgment, and you don't need me to tell you what to do. I think you know exactly what you should do, you know. And the real challenge is in just making ourselves do what we know. Giselle Sepulveda, hello. I have to clean tears from my Shih Tzu all the time. What can I do to help him? The area around his eyes is wet and obscure. Yeah, and it's a daily thing. And the best way I can describe it is every single morning, I don't know what it is, but I got these eye boogers in my eyes every morning. And the thing is, I cleaned it really well the day before. But for some reason, when I wake up, I have more eye boogers. And that's the kind of the same way with our dogs. You can clean it really well, and it's perfect. And you brush it and you comb it, and they look really nice. You know, it's going to have more eye boogers and it's going to be wet again. And it's just a daily thing. But if you feel like it's unusually, tears coming out is like unusually high, like a lot more than you feel is normal, then definitely check it out with your vet and have them run some tests, like take some blood samples. But, you know, usually it's just, I think it's more the fact that we're not expecting when we get these dogs, especially Shih Tzus and dogs with long hair. Like my Shih Tzu, Weemy, right now his eyes, oh my goodness, I would be so embarrassed if any of you guys saw it. But the thing is, I brushed him out just there, you know, like it's crazy. And I remember my clients telling me, like, I don't know what it is, you know, like he just went outside this morning, he got matted up. And I would think to myself, yeah, right, he got matted in one morning. Now that I have Weemy, I'm like, I completely believe them. You know, like I brush him out, he goes, runs outside and gets all wet and everything, gets nasty and comes back in and he's matted, you know? And so, yeah, with these Shih Tzus, usual amount of tears coming out of their eyes, then usually it's just, I think it's just the fact that we don't expect to have to clean it every day. And fairy tale plans, I only have 4 hours to finish this 80-pound. Yes, exactly. So 4 hours, that gives you about an hour to prep, right? Hour to get everything, all the prep work done and try to get some of these mats figured out. An hour to wash and dry. And it takes about that, right? Because the amount of time to spray the dog down and get them wet, then lathered, and then you have to let the shampoo sit for a little bit. I mean, because if you start washing the shampoo off as soon as you get them lathered up, what's the point, right? You're not giving the shampoo time to actually work. So we got to let the shampoo sit for 5 minutes at least, up to 10 minutes. You know, so in that time, I usually massage the dogs or try to work out some more of the mats by hand in the tub while I have the shampoo on them. But then you have to dry them, and dogs, you know, I mean, magical technique. We just get the hose of the dryer and we just sit there and blow air on the dog until it dries. And that takes about 30 minutes, especially 80-pound doodle. It'll take about 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes maybe to get them completely dry, right? So that's another hour. Of about an hour, you know, to an hour and a half to finish the haircut. Because even though you say you have 4 hours to finish the dog, there's times where you have to subtract the times where you're getting the dog up and down, you know, moving the dog from the tub to the table to the drying area. So all of these times minused out, you got about an hour and a half to finish this haircut on an 80-pound doodle now, you know, and we're not just cutting the top of their hair like at a human hair salon. Feet blend in with their ankles, blends in with their legs, blends in with their shoulders, blends into the neck, and then the head doesn't pop out of nowhere, and then the eyes look nice and the ears look nice. Tail is blended in with the hips and the, I mean, we're doing the entire body. It's like doing a haircut on Bigfoot if you wanted to compare it to a hair salon. So yeah, I mean, fairy tale plans, it's a miracle what we do. You are a miracle worker. And so I don't care what this owner says to you or you know, if they appreciate what you've done or not. Trust me, I know what you're about to go through, and I appreciate you doing it for this doodle. Even though nobody else will. And just know, fairy tale plans, you are a miracle worker. What you're doing today with that golden doodle, you're taking a dog that does not belong to you. Someone else's child is coming to you. You're gonna make them feel very uncomfortable and sometimes even put them in a little bit of pain. You know, it's not gonna feel too great when you're working out these mats because the mats are already pulling on their skin. So you're gonna get a dog that's already feeling uncomfortable, and then you're gonna make them feel a little bit more uncomfortable pulling and kind of working out these mats. And this is not your child, this is someone else's child. You're gonna wash them, dry them with this, you know, high velocity air dryer that makes a lot of noise, sometimes spooks them, and you're gonna be calming them and trying to get this dog, and you're gonna convince this dog that you are someone that is trustworthy, trust. And then you're gonna guide them through all of this, and so they don't crap themselves, right? And then you're gonna finish a beautiful haircut and make sure this dog is presentable to people. And you're gonna do all of this in 4 hours. You are a magician. You're a miracle worker, seriously. And I don't think that people like you get enough credit and enough appreciation for what you do. But I appreciate you. God's lady first. How can I clip my Shih Tzu face, particularly around the nose, up toward the eyes, without risk of injury? Scissor clipped 2 weeks ago and was very nervous, but did it with hubby's help holding him still. The Shih Tzu's face, especially around the nose and towards the eyes, you just want to always make sure you're pointing the scissors or the clippers away from the eyes. And as long as you're pointing it, so I don't know if I have any tools around me here, but yeah, even let's just say like with this comb here, you know, away from the eyes, right? So let's just say that this is a clippers, the blades right here, the cutting edge. You don't want to go towards the eyes like this. You want to go away. That way, let's say you're going down like here and he goes, ah, like that. There's no risk of hurting them or injuring their eye. Even if they turned into it like that, you know, you might just get a really close shave spot here on their nose, but you're not really going to injure or get their eye. There's not going to be blood. Same thing with the scissors. Let's say the scissors are here and I'm holding the scissors like this, right? I'm never gonna point the scissors, like I'll just use my hands. I'm never gonna point the scissors towards the eyes like this. Never. It's gonna be like this. That way, if the dog shakes like that, you know, it's still away. It's not pointing here where the dog could shake and actually get right into the eye. So dog shakes, it could actually hit the eye. Pointed this way. So that's the best tip I can give you, is just always make sure it's pointing towards the nose. And that way, if the dog shakes or whatever it doesn't actually do serious injury to the dog. And also, God's lady first. Just take a few deep breaths and center yourself. Make sure you're not feeling tense or jittery or hesitant or nervous. Just, and then picture yourself doing it just like a professional would. Imagine how a professional would do it. Like, imagine yourself watching a professional do it right in front of you. And then, like, almost transform that person into you. Doing it the way a professional would do it, and you believe that it's possible, do it, and then boom, and just make it happen. Kind of like a soccer player, before they kick the goal, especially if they're doing like a penalty shot, they'll visualize everything happening first, and then they'll actually take their first step and kick the ball into the goal. But they see it first before they do it. So that would be a really big thing for me, because I tend to get philosophical. Brenda Joanne, I wrote to Andy's to ask what I should buy for my shaggy 40-pound cockapoo. They said model AGC model for MBG2 unit or MBG2 unit, and need to use a 3.25 skip tooth blade. Whoa, half inch in length, and 10, and then number 10. Okay. With a cockapoo, 40-pound cockapoo, yeah, I mean, but skip tooth blades I would be very careful with, because they have more openings. It's easier to catch little skin tags or bumps sticking out of your dog's skin. It's easy to catch those, and especially when you're going through your dog's like armpits or the tuck up areas, like where the hind leg kind of tucks up into the tummy. That's a very easy area to catch, especially with clippers. Even if you're using a 7 finish blade. And that means like a 7 with a lot like closed teeth on it. Even if you're using a number 10, it's easy to catch those areas. So with the skip tooth blade, I would be very careful. Also with a 3 blade, like blades, it doesn't really give me a nice smooth finish. I personally like to use a number 2 comb under a 30 blade if I'm going to use a number 3 blade. But that's just me. Fairy tale plans. I would love, and also I use the AGC. I use the AGC 2-speed or something like that. But yeah, I personally use AGC. I like it, But yeah, thank you, Brenda Joanne. Fairy tale plans. I would love to do that. However, I work at Petco and canceled all my other dogs and to the other groomers so I can try and help this golden doodle out, because owners doesn't want it shaved. I got your book, by the way. I cannot wait to start. Wow, fairy tale plans. Okay. Wow, you canceled all your other appointments and you gave them to the other groomers to try to help this one dog. That right there, that's integrity. And so I go to my mom's church on Saturdays, and she's a Seventh-day. She goes to the Seventh-day Adventist church. I was raised in the Seventh-day Adventist church. That's where I was studying to be a pastor in that church. So I'm not into religion anymore. I don't really consider myself a member of any church. But I do like to make my mom happy, and so I go to church. So that's why I'm in a shirt and tie. But there was a really good message today by the pastor, and he was saying that integrity, like it's what you do, it's not what you say, and have a track record of doing the right thing and doing what we know we should do, and being of service to others. We have to have a track record of this before people will actually see that and acknowledge that and say, oh, we should put you in a higher position. And that's the thing, is like a lot of times we wonder, why are we not being promoted into these higher positions in life? And it's usually because we're waiting for someone to pay us or give us some acknowledgement for doing these things of service, these acts of kindness and things like that. We're waiting for some kind of acknowledgement from others in order to do it. And this pastor was saying, just do it without getting any acknowledgement, without getting any credit, just do it. And when you continue to do that, that's when you have a track record of being this kind of person, and people will recognize that. Plans, I think that you are like the definition integrity and kindness. This is amazing. I'm so glad that we met. Wow. I'm glad that we did this show today, because that's amazing. And I really hope that you like the book. I think that you're gonna agree with a lot of the stuff I wrote in the book, because it seems to me that you're grooming for the exact same reasons I'm grooming. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay, Kathy from Oz. Hey, June, I keep hearing a lot of other groomers that it should only take an hour or an hour and a half to 15 to do a dog from start to finish. Is this normal? That is normal. And in my opinion, it's unfortunate, because, yeah, I know that it takes me about an hour to an hour and a half just to get the dog prepped for the bath. And here's the thing, though. What do you do? When you're working for someone and you need that paycheck, and that's why I hesitate to give any advice on people of how to live their lives or anything, because I know that the way I live my life and the decisions that I've made is probably not for everybody, because it really scared the crap out of me. And a couple of times I even thought to myself, am I going to end up homeless with my children? And are they going to take my children away from me because I'm so unable to financially take care of my children, because I'm trying to change the world, and I know how ridiculous that sounds, but yeah, I realized, wow. So, this is a great transition into what I wanted to talk about today, because there's a few points I wanted to bring up. And that when we understand that brushing our dog's skin and coat is actually healthy for them, because that's one thing that I hear is that, brushing the dog's skin, brushing the dogs, it damages their skin and coat. Why do we brush our own hair? We brush our dogs because by brushing their hairs, we're not only releasing a lot of the dead undercoat and the dead hairs. Not only are we getting that out of the pores, but along with it, we're getting a lot of the cellular dander, cellular buildup, all that stuff that kind of builds up in those pores. We're clearing it out for them. Also, the oils being produced by their skin, we're distributing it evenly throughout their coat. And that set aside, before we give the dog a haircut, we have to wash them, right? Because only clean, nicely dried hair is going to give you a nice smooth haircut. And that's the finish, right? So the haircut happens at the end. Before that, we have to bathe them. And in order to bathe them, we have to brush them. And so I'm actually going to make another presentation about what I'm going to call the golden triangle of grooming, where I show the reason why a lot of grooms don't stand the test of time. The dogs either smell bad, their skin gets worse over time, or they start matting up within a week or two, things like that. So once we understand that, then we understand that brushing our dogs on a regular basis is not just for show dogs. And I hear that a lot. They're just pets. They're not show dogs. That's kind of like saying that, my daughters don't really have to brush their teeth or brush their hair and, keep themselves clean because they're not models or beauty pageant queens, what? Well, they may not, walk the runway, but they still need to be comfortable and their teeth not hurt and, be presentable to others so they don't smell, and things like that. It's not about cleanliness and health and hygiene. So then we go into the last objection that I get from a lot of groomers. It's not our job to brush the dogs and get them all brushed out and everything. That's the owner's job. The owners are supposed to keep up with that. I understand. And you know, I know in the beginning, I felt a lot of frustration with my clients. I would even ask myself, like, are they listening to a thing I say, you know? But I realized if you try to control other people and how other people behave, it only brings frustration, really. I mean, that's the easiest recipe. That's the easiest formula I can give you for a life of frustration. Try to get other people to behave the way you believe they should behave, or think the way you believe they should think. It's it's a lesson in frustration, really, because you're not going to change other people, and you're not going to get them to believe what you believe. I mean, you may be able to, but you know, it's really frustrating to try. And so now I just do what I know is right to do for me personally. And so if my client dogs, they don't use conditioner, they don't brush them, and now I have a matted doodle on my hands, I just realized this is why I'm here, right? This is why I'm getting paid. This is why I'm here. I'm getting called to do this. And I feel like the reason why I have such loyal clients who will literally hunt me down and find me wherever I am, I believe it's because I offer them something that not a lot of people are willing to offer them, which is my best, no matter what I'm getting paid. So I just wanted to kind of get into that because for, you know, Kathy from Oz, a lot of groomers will probably say that you're not talented, this isn't for you, you're taking too long, you're never going to make enough money, all of this stuff. But if I would say listen to them, you know, if it sounds right to you, but if it doesn't feel right to you, and you know in your heart that you're doing something that is right, you know, for you, I would say, you know, do it your way. And that's why if you look at my resume, you would think that I don't know how to hold a job, and I probably don't. I never really respected authority much. I never really trusted authority, because for me growing up, authority has always kind of let me down. And one of the biggest reasons why I have a hard time accepting money from people, I believe, when I trace it back to my childhood, is because when I was younger, in about, I think it was third or fourth grade, you know, I come from very humble beginnings. And so a lot of times, you know, there wasn't enough money for food or things like that. So the essentials. So forget about having toys or candy or anything else. So, you know, in order to have those kind of things, the extra kind of things that kind of make kids excited, I would have to come up with ways to make my own money. So I started making fortune tellers. So the four square that you fold these little triangles and you do like that. And so I used to fold these and color them and, you know, like, you know, dress it all up and make it look nice. And I would sell them for $0.25 during lunch and recess to the other kids in my school. And I started doing well. I started selling out. And then I taught my other 3 friends. So the 4 of us would start making these, you know, during lunch, and then we would sell them during recess. You know, it was like a little corporation I had going on, fortune telling corporation, right? And then the teachers found out about this. And a lot of trouble, actually. It was they made it serious. I mean, they called us in, and you know, the teachers were there and, you know, reprimanding us. And I remember they made me feel terrible, and they were telling me, you know, that this is inappropriate, that what I'm doing is evil, you know, and like, and that, you know, made me feel like I'm a really bad person for trying to make money off of my friends. And that really wasn't what I was thinking, you know. But I just give them the money back, and I was like, the money spent, you know, because up until this point, I was only learning how to form a corporation. I wasn't learning how to sustain it or save money. That lesson would have came later. So I was spending the money, you know, I was buying toys and stuff. And so I was like, I don't have the money. I can't give them the money back. I mean, there's no money to give back, you know, like, so they made me feel terrible for it. And I have trouble accepting money from people. Authority screwed me up. So, you know, for me, I think my background and my personal history has set me up in a unique way to always challenge the system. And I think that's what I'm doing. And I think that's why some of the groomers out there do not like me, because I came out of nowhere changing the system, challenging the status quo, making people feel uneasy and uncomfortable. And hey, part of me deeply cares. And it still bothers me to this day how much it bothers me what other people think. But there's another part of me that just doesn't care because I've always been a loner. And I've always been alone. You know, I've always been the outcast. I've always had a very small type group of friends. So for me, it bothers me deeply, but it bothers me in a way that it always has as a child. So I think that I'm kind of used to it. And so part of me deeply does want people to like me, you know, and agree with me. But then there's that other part of me that has been prepared from childhood, you know? So yeah, sorry for getting on a big rant. I probably lost everybody there. But anyways, yeah, I mean, just Kathy from Mise, I say just do what you believe is right. Don't listen to other people, because a lot of the groomers that are telling you that it takes an hour to finish a dog, they were taught by someone else that was taught by someone else that probably smoked cigarettes next to the dog that they groomed back in the 70s. You know, they had ashtrays next to the dogs, you know, so this is hand-me-down information from people who never actually studied about dogs, you know? So just, I would say I would give the same advice that I give people when I was studying religion. Don't take the pastor's word for it. Read the Bible yourself. And so that's the advice I would give for grooming as well. Don't just take your instructor's, you know, opinions as truth, you know, as absolute fact. It's not. Study it for yourself. There is information out there. Fairy tale plans. Thank you so much. I'm going to try the number 2 guard or 4. Thank you so much. Wow. Yes. And if you are going to go with the number 2, then maybe on the legs, try like a number 1 or a 0 comb. But I'm guessing if it's matted really bad, then you may want to do like a number 4 on the body and a number 2 on the legs. And that'll at least give you a little bit of proportion. Yeah, got to go to work now. Perfect. Fairy tale plans, you're amazing. Giselle Sepulveda, thanks a lot. Wow, thank you, Giselle. Daniel Brown, June, how are you today? I am feeling good. As you guys know, it's the Chinese New, well, as many of you may know, it's the Chinese New Year. And so my daughters, my wife, my mom, we're all dressed in the Korean traditional dresses. And, you know, I wore a suit. Good, feeling good. Amber 3333. My Yorkie has deep mats. I brush him regularly. We live where there's a bunch of snow and he is very matted now. I don't want him to freeze when I take him out to go potty, so I don't want to shave him. Perfect. And there's a reply. P. McCauley says, Amber 3333, buy a dematting comb. About $10 gently cuts through mats and tangles. I have a Morkie. Perfect. And there's actually a mat splitter. Man, I wish I had my tools in here with me, but it's like a little, it looks like this. It's kind of shaped like a sickle, almost like a farmer's sickle. But yeah, you can slice that, or you can even use your scissors and just go down vertically. Like, don't go against the grain or anything. Go with the lay of the hair. So if you're gonna split it down, also because this is your Yorkie and you don't have a time limit on how much, you know, you have to get this dog done in 4 hours or whatever. You can spend working on one foot, the next day work on another foot. You know, you have the luxury of doing that because this dog is your dog and it's at home with you. So yeah, I mean, and don't rush through it, especially when you're dematting, because just try to think of this matted hair is already pulling at this tender skin on this dog. So when you finally get the mats worked out, even when you just shave the mat off, sometimes you'll see that area of skin was red. It's red underneath. At it or yanked at it, it's just because the hair was constantly pulling at it the whole time. And so the dog gets bruised. So yeah, I mean, just go gently. Work it out as gently as you can. Cut out as much as you can. Just thin it out with your fingers even. Just kind of, you know, try to work and separate it. You know, But yeah, or what you could do is wait till springtime, you know, wait till the weather gets a little bit warmer and then shave them down and then start over, because sometimes that's really the only option. Or if you do have to shave them down now, while it is snowing, just get them some sweaters, you know, make sure you limit their time outside, less than 15 minutes, you know, but just take them out often and, you know, things like that. But yeah, once your dog is matted like that, it's kind of more um, about humanity than vanity. So at that point, when your dog is matted, it's more about getting them comfortable and healthy rather than how they look at that point. Scrap how they're going to look, and just know and just put it in the back your back pocket how you want your dog to look, and you can work towards that eventually. But added to a point where it's making them uncomfortable, then I think, in my opinion, it's time to shave them down. God's lady first. I loved your advice to fairy tale plans. The miracle worker, yes, she is, and she's about to do it right now. I mean, literally, we just had interactions with the real life miracle worker, and she's about to perform another miracle right now. New Zealand, Daniel, I'm gonna have to go to New Zealand one of these days just to give you a high five. Kathy from Oz. My Maltese Shih Tzu mix has extremely thin hair, almost bald on her chest and legs. The vet said to change her diet. She eats top quality food, but that hasn't helped. Do you know of any product that may help? Yes. It would be, for me, a slicker brush and maybe a Furminator. The reason why I say that is because I have a Bichon. That's one of my clients, is a Bichon named Max. And I think he's about 14 or 15 years old now. Yeah, I think he's like 14 or 15. But Max was very thin. His hair was very thin. He was balding in several areas. And the owner, who I love, she's so sweet. But she was telling me that he has Cushing's, and the vet was saying, you know, it's just he's gonna be losing hair and things like that. After I gave him a thorough carding, like literally brushing with the slicker brush in areas that really kind of didn't have hair, and I was kind of pulling hair from out of the skin. Really, it was crazy. And then I washed and blow dried him. After I was done, it looked like he had hair where there was no hair. It looked like hair like magically grew from nowhere. It was, I mean, and not like he had a full coat that was thick and full or anything, but just it was weird because it's like, whoa, that area is bald and he has hair, you know, like. And what I'm thinking is happening is that because no one's actually going in there and clearing out these pores, they're getting so full that the hair is actually not able to grow out. And so Max, now he's on my Instagram, actually. There's a picture of Max on my Instagram. He has a nice, you know, round Bichon head. It's small right now because, again, he was very thin and balding in areas, but he's got like a Bichon head now. And the body's coming in nice, and he's got, you know, soft, fluffy hair everywhere. You know, and how did that happen? It's kind of like if we, you know, I mean, I'm running out of analogies here. You know, I've used painting analogies, cooking analogies, old underwear, gym socks. You know, like, okay, so I was telling one of my clients, you know, let's just imagine that there's a paint industry. You know, people who come and paint people's homes. Let's just say that it was just commonly accepted that what the painter does is they come in and they just put the new paint on the walls. Not that much, you know, and it doesn't take that long. Usually they can paint an entire house in a day. Or several houses. Let's say they could do 4 or 5 houses in a day, right? By the time the walls start to bubble and chip and crack, and areas of the walls that should have been replaced with new sheetrock start to really deteriorate and things like that, by the time that actually starts to happen, these painters are going to be long gone because it would take months for this to happen, for it to actually show. Now, let's say this one painter realizes what's going on, realizes that there's actually a lot more that has to happen to these walls before we actually put new paint on them. And so instead of doing 4 or 5 houses a day, this one painter does 1 house, maybe, and it takes him 2 or 3 days to do this 1 house. And he charges maybe 3 or 4 times more than all these other painters are charging. You know, everybody's gonna say, what in the world? You know, why are you taking so long on my house so much? You know, and then once this painter shows them and kind of goes through everything and educates them, creates awareness, now there's value, and this client is happy to pay this painter more time because the painter has educated them, you know. Or at least if the person says, well, that's just not in my budget and I don't have time for that, at least the person turns that painter away knowing more and knowing that there was value in that. It's just that it's not for me. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. The entire grooming industry, it's just been accepted that when you groom a dog, what happens is you take the dog, put him in the tub, lather them up with shampoo, rinse them off as quickly as possible, of course, dry them, and if they won't tolerate the high velocity dryer because it spooks them, then you put them in a cage and you put a fan on them and you get them dry, and then you give them a haircut. You shave them down if you can't get a haircut done because they're too matted. That's just generally accepted as the way grooming is done. Here I come out of nowhere and I say, no, wait a minute. Before these dogs ever get into the tub, there's a lot that has to go on, that has to happen with the skin in order to prepare them for the bath. And then once that happens, the haircut doesn't take any time at all because everything's set in place. It's the mise en place. If you want to talk about in cooking, all the great chefs, the 3-star Michelin chefs, they always talk about the mise en place. It's a French term meaning everything in its place. All the organization and the prep work that has to happen before you actually, you know, heat everything up and mix everything together. It's cutting, it's deveining the shrimp, it's all of that. And this one Brazilian chef, I can't remember his name, but he was on the Chef's Table documentary on Netflix. He's a Michelin chef, 3-star Michelin chef, but he was saying that for him, the mise en place does not begin in the kitchen. It begins in the fields, out in the oceans, where he goes scuba diving for these, you know, mussels and clams that he gets fresh, and he visits the farmers and learns how the plants are being grown, the vegetables are being grown, and everything, and the care that's being put into it. I mean, he's saying that's his mise en place. It starts in the field, carries into the kitchen, and then onto the plate. That's exactly what dog grooming is for me. The prep happens not when the dog gets on my table. The prep happens in learning the history behind this breed, understanding why this breed has certain characteristics, why that's so important, and why a Portuguese water dog is so stubborn, you know, because they're bred to think independently and to appreciate that. And, you know, like, that's where my mise en place begins. And then when the dog gets to the table, I begin my prep, the prep work. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that's just kind of, and the reason why I got into that big tangent is because diet, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can give the dog all sorts of prescription medications. Nothing is going to change until we actually start to change the way we look at their skincare routine. I hope I said that well. God's lady first. Thank you for advice. See it first before I do it. Yes, visualize it. Yes, see yourself doing it well, seeing it up. Because that's what happens with me, and I have to fight it all the time. When I'm working on a dog, I have to put out the images of accidentally cutting the dog and seeing the dog, you know, bleeding and everything. These images come to my mind because it's happened before to me, and so I have to fight it off and make myself visualize more positive results before I start doing the scissoring. Because, yeah, I mean, we have to see it first. I'm a mental health professional, so I know how well wow, God's lady first. I'm a mental health professional, so I know how well visualization works. Thanks, you're awesome. Wow, you're awesome. Oh my goodness, and your ministers the other week. Sherry Holt, Philly Shih Tzu mom here. Following up on the eye trim, what kind of trimmer should I get for the eye area? I like to use thinning shears. And here's the thing about thinning shears. My favorite thinning shears, up until it got stolen out of the trunk of my car, my favorite thinning shears were the thinning shears that I bought at PetSmart. And it was like top paw and had a little blue spinning wheel on it to tighten, you know, the fastener. But yeah, you don't even have to get an expensive pair of thinning shears. You can go to PetSmart or Petco and just buy a pair of thinning shears. You may have to sharpen it though, because I remember I didn't like it until I got it sharpened, and then it was my favorite thinners. Diana Pinheiro. Oh my goodness, it's already 3 o'clock. Hello from Portugal. I love your videos. I'm a beginner groomer, so I'm trying to learn with the best. Wow, yes. And that's the thing. You become who you surround yourself with. So every single day, I tell you, I listen to audiobooks. I also listen to like motivational speakers. And I listen to, you know, great successful entrepreneurs and people like that. And I just feel like the people we hang out with the most, then I'm hanging out with some great people all day long. You know, I may not be hanging out with them physically in person, especially because they're very busy, and so am I. But not just that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm listening to Tony Robbins, you know, Robin Sharma, Simon Sinek, just Jack Canfield. He's cool. I mean, just a lot of different people, a lot of success, Les Brown. And so I feel like because I'm listening to these people all day long, right now I'm listening to a book called Unthinkable by John McCain, but surrounding myself all day long, listening to these kind of people, it's like having conversation with the greatest, most successful people in the world all day long. And so I feel like it really is changing me and helping me myself into a more I guess a version of myself that I could be proud of, you know, not a version of myself where I'm always looking like and feeling like, man, why did I do that? Why did I say that? You know, always feeling guilty or always feeling ashamed of myself. You know, I want to become a version of myself where I can feel like, wow, not bad. Let's see here. Nicolette Dunn. As a groomer, a matted golden doodle is a groomer's worst nightmare. And that's pretty much my client list. But it's not a nightmare for me. For me, I mean, but here's the thing, because I know I enjoy it. That's why. If I had to groom cats, that would be a nightmare, seriously. Because I love cats, I respect them. I don't enjoy them that way. Let's see here. Or let's just say like sheep shearing, you know, that's a better example because I have nothing against sheep, but I just know that I probably wouldn't enjoy shearing sheep all day long. You know, I just love the company of dogs. And hey, if it's my job to be with this dog all day long and get it untangled, and I'm going to get paid for it, come on. Brenda Joanne, thank you, June. I won't get the skip blade. I'm buying Andy's because whoa, what? You don't have to buy Andy's because I use it, especially because I don't get anything from Andy's for. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I actually like it. It's comfortable. It's what I started grooming with, so I've grown comfortable and used to it. So I like it. Let me know what you think. Daniel Brown, dogs good love DVD. Tanya, come on. Hi, June. Hi, everyone. Hey, Tanya. Daniel Brown, hello. How are you? How to clean dogs' ears? I actually wrote a blog about that on my just if you go to my website junthegroomer.com, there's a little search bar on the top left corner, and just type in dog ears or clean ears, and it should show you the article that I wrote about cleaning dogs' ears. And I also think there's a video I did on it, but basically, you just want to get if there's any hair that's blocking the airflow from the ear canal, clear that out. There's ear powder to help you grip the hairs and pull it out, and then always follow it up with a good ear cleaner. I usually put the ear cleaner on a cotton ball and just kind of swab around in there and get the ear clean with the ear cleaner. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Kathy from Mise, thanks, June. Thank you, Kathy. I think you're awesome. Seriously, this is the thing. You guys are really the ones that make this. I don't know if you know this or not, but like, you guys are really the ones that make this show, that make this channel. You know, like, you guys are so awesome. Amber3333, thank you so much. I really don't have great experience in grooming, and this advice really helped. You are so amazing. Thank you, Amber3333. R. Wilt, I love your videos and your enthusiasm for proper grooming. I've learned so much. Thank you, and keep the videos coming. Yes, and that's one of my goals, is to finally get try to schedule in a day where I can maybe do some more filming, and maybe even I can ask some of my clients if they wouldn't mind me filming a grooming session with their dogs. Just kind of set up a tripod, edit, and maybe do like a fast forward, you know, version. I don't know, because I know some of my clients, their dogs are getting older, and they're super, super sweet. And I know they're going to be heartbroken when their dogs pass on. So it might be a good way to like keep a memory of them, even and have a grooming tutorial video of like a Westie or something like that. So I'll ask some of my clients if I can make a video of their dogs. Marcos Velasquez. R. Will, thank you for the suggestion. Marcos Velasquez. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. My friend, wish you Happy New Year, my friend. Wish you the best for you and your family. Thank you, Marcos. Thank you so much. Retard loser. And I'm not saying that about myself or anybody. This is a screen name. So the username is retard loser. Wow. I'm not even gonna read it, because it's full of trash. It's full of curse words. And oh man. Wow. Okay. Well, no wonder. Hence the name, right? I'm not even gonna read it. So those of you who are watching live, you know, hopefully you can erase it out of your memory. Those of you who are not watching this live and you can't see the comment, you know, it's probably a very good thing that you can't see the comment. But hey, here's the thing I realized. Being on YouTube is probably the best thing that could ever happen to me, because I was the guy in high school that would stay up all night. I remember one time I stayed up all night sitting on a toilet. I was in the bathroom stall sitting on a toilet, just racking my mind, you know, and I just couldn't sleep. I was just so like, you know, I had like so much like boiling inside of me because somebody didn't like me in high school. Or why they didn't like me, and what I could do to get them to like me or something like that. Stupid. But I'm that guy. So, you know, in the beginning when I first had this YouTube channel and some negative comments were coming in, I had a really hard time with it. And I almost didn't continue, because I was just like, wow, you know, like I don't like this. But realize now, anytime you put yourself out there, there's always going to be someone that says something negative about you, because now you are a target, because you've raised your hand, you've got yourself noticed. So, you know, I've gotten better at it, you know, and I realize I could even say, I love America. And somebody's gonna probably disagree with me and tell me how stupid I am for loving America, you know. So I realize you can't please everybody. Marga Huber, hi June, greetings from the Netherlands. Wow, so I got New Zealand, I got Ireland, I got the Netherlands. Wow, Brazil. Marga Huber, the retard is. Well, hence the name. It has it right in his username. He's named himself retard loser. Pretty self-fulfilling prophecy, if you ask me. But anyways, thank you guys so much. It's after 3 o'clock. I really enjoyed my time here with you. I'm gonna really work on trying to stay on topic and not go off on too many tangents. And hopefully we'll have a better show next week, Thursday at 9 p.m. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, and remember, brush more, bathe less. Thank you guys.